Now, welcome to another Sunday commentary, which means I'll be moving away somewhat from talking about Star Wars itself or the in-universe stuff, and instead talking about some real-world things, or in this case, a bit of politics, even though, yes, I know getting away from that sort of thing is the reason many like to watch my videos or like to watch Star Wars in the first place. Though on the flip side, many will point out or argue that Star Wars has always been, and should continue to be, very political, that George Lucas himself made it that way, so that saying or asking for Star Wars not to be political is even missing the point, which kind of takes us right into the discussion. And what's basically brought this video on, what made me want to talk about this, were some recent comments or answers from Leslie Headland, the showrunner of the upcoming Disney Plus series The Acolyte, which will show us the rise of the dark side during the final days of the High Republic era, the time period a couple hundred years before the prequels. And according to the website The Wrap, one of the things she is most excited about is fleshing out the characters and meshing them with modern-day America. She also was asked in a recent interview with the AV Club how she felt about some fans asking her to keep politics out of Star Wars, and she responded, I mean, it's funny because a lot of the feedback that I'll get, and I use the term feedback very lightly, but when I go on social media, the feedback is, don't make Star Wars political. I'm like, George Lucas made it political, those are political films, war is by nature political, that's just what's up. It's truly what he was interested in talking about and looking at digging into. Okay, so before really getting into what she said, and to be fair to her, these are just a couple quotes from her taken out of context. She's also talked extensively about her love and appreciation of Star Wars, how big of a fan she is, and as far as I can tell, she's very knowledgeable and passionate, she knows her stuff. Which in turn means she should, and probably does, understand what fans are saying or asking for when they say to keep politics out of Star Wars. They're not asking for or saying you can't have any political themes at all, that we can't explore the intricacies of war and politics, that it has to be completely void of these things, which, yes, would be near impossible, because I agree with her. The name alone, Star Wars, implies war, and behind war there's almost always politics. Instead, what these fans are asking for is no heavy-handed political themes or agendas that blatantly and overtly push one real-world political side or the other. They're asking for something that isn't a reflection of modern-day America. They're asking for something that is a reflection of Star Wars itself, what it has become and established in its decades of existence. This is something I've talked about many times before, but what most fans want is for Star Wars stories to be about Star Wars. They don't want it to shift and change with the times to reflect the current state of the world. They want Star Wars to have become independent of that, to take on a sort of life and or reality of its own, to be influenced by what has come before in the story, not something that is reshaped to fit modern times. That is what they mean or what they are asking for when they say no politics in Star Wars. They do not mean it literally. Because yes, those in-universe stories are and can certainly continue to be political in nature. Fans aren't saying they can't be, and I dare say most fans will enjoy a good political story in Star Wars as long as it, again, is about the politics in Star Wars already. I'd even go so far as to argue one of the failings of the sequels was not dealing with the current political state of the galaxy, because the in-universe politics of Star Wars absolutely are important. They're absolutely a big part of the story. And those in-universe politics, yes, certainly have their foundation in real-world politics, or can compare to it. No one is arguing against that. And especially recently, or well after the fact here, George Lucas has talked a lot about the political themes and or messages in Star Wars. And I think we'd all agree that the prequels were about, though not entirely about, the rise of fascism, or about how people can be tricked to willingly give up their freedom, and that the original trilogy was about fighting fascism, about people fighting to get that freedom back. And maybe ironically enough, you could even argue the sequels should have absolutely been a lot more political than they were, that they should have been about how you maintain that freedom once you get it back. It could have been a discussion about human nature and how we balance selfish versus selfless, which is the true theme at the heart of Star Wars. It could have been about forming a better society for all. It should have shown all the people of the galaxy unifying to face a grave external threat, to show just how fragile life is, how precious it is, and that we all are in this together, that we all want to enjoy the little time we have, and, to quote Tarkin, this bickering is pointless. And in the hands of a skilled storyteller, the sequel trilogy could have been an absolute masterpiece, a political masterpiece, you could even say. It could have been the natural continuation of the story of Star Wars, and a reflection of the real world, almost by default, you could say. It could have been an incredible story and trilogy of movies for so many reasons, and when people ask me why I didn't enjoy them so much, this is one of the big reasons why. It missed the mark on so many levels, one of them being politically funny enough. Anyway, one thing I like to ask people who say to me that Star Wars has always been political, so stop complaining about it, is the simple question of, well, why do you think people enjoy Star Wars? Why do you think they watch it? What is it that turns someone into a Star Wars fan and keeps them coming back for more? And of course, every person will give a vastly different answer, which is fine. There's obviously no right answer here. But some of those answers might be anything from they love the Jedi and Sith dichotomy, they love the setting or all the aliens and the look and feel of the worlds, they love space battles and all the action, they love the stories and all the lore and just immersing themselves in a different world or galaxy altogether. The nature of the Force, maybe that's what fascinates them. Or maybe they love just thinking about all the possibilities this galaxy has to offer. Again, you're going to get a lot of very different answers, but one you're not going to get from many is, I watch it for the underlying political themes. Which, no, isn't to say they can't be appreciated and or discussed. In fact, I think they should be. But go back in time to 1977, the year Star Wars came out, of course, and ask every single kid coming out of a theater after seeing the movie for the first time what they liked about it, and I'll give you $1 million for every one of them that says they enjoyed it because of how it depicted the fight against fascism, and that it was an allegory for the Vietnam War. Hell, I'll give you $1 million for every adult who said that, and thankfully there are no time machines because, sure, you might actually get a few adults who would go there, who might see the connection and really enjoy that aspect of the movie. But let's be real, that wasn't the point of Star Wars. It might be in there, it might be part of the premise of the story, in fact it absolutely is, but it was never the purpose. The purpose was mainly to entertain and to inspire the young. I mean, to this very day, George Lucas keeps saying that Star Wars is for kids. When Jon Favreau asked him this secret to Star Wars or what he should always keep in mind when making it, this is what Lucas said. Remember, it is for kids. And I do think he means the kid in us all. Basically, it's for anyone who wants to go on an adventure in a galaxy far, far away and leave everything behind for a little while. Back when making the films, Lucas even said, "The reason I'm making Star Wars is I want to give young people some sort of faraway exotic environment for their imaginations to run wild in." Which again here doesn't mean you can't recognize or appreciate or talk about the underlying political themes or messages in there. But I believe saying Star Wars is political is a bit of a misnomer. It's missing the point. Just like those who say I don't want politics in Star Wars aren't saying you can't have these broad underlying themes like fascism is bad, or that the stories themselves can't be heavily political at times, or have a lot of in-universe politics. They're saying they don't want you to use it for your political beliefs or agenda. Which is not the same as saying they oppose your beliefs or agenda or don't care about these things at all. Apathy is not objection. Disagreement or disapproval is not hate. They just don't want to see Star Wars used to portray modern America, especially in a one-sided way. And they will reject it. They will fight against it. Again, not because they're necessarily fighting your message, but because they don't want you to use Star Wars for it. These same people would be absolutely fine if you wanted to make your own brand new story with new settings and characters and lore to tell whatever story you want and make it as political as you want. They won't care. But that's the problem, isn't it? No one would care. You need Star Wars to lure people in to watch your message, because without it, virtually no one would want to watch what you're making. No one would care. And that's because what made Star Wars great wasn't the politics it was based off of, or that still permeated to some degree. It was something else entirely, something special and magical, you could almost say. And I'm sure the kids who came out of those theaters back in 1977, or any kid who has watched it or other good Star Wars since, would allude to the same thing. They talk about how this was different from anything and everything else they'd seen before. This was something special. And the Star Wars that will continue to capture the hearts and minds of kids watching it today and keep the adults who still and have loved it since their first time seeing it, what will keep them enthralled, isn't a commentary on modern-day America. It isn't a heavy-handed political message. There's a reason why something like The Mandalorian did so well, why it was so well received by almost every Star Wars fan, which is because it was Star Wars first and foremost. It's because those behind it wanted to honor and be true to Star Wars. They remembered it's for kids, or the kid in us all, that it's meant to entertain and inspire, to get you to think and wonder and imagine. It's not meant to educate and tell you how to think and put stories second to an agenda. Well, that's all I've got for you this time. Now it's your turn to give me your take on politics in Star Wars or entertainment in general, or to tell me what you think about everything and anything I had to say in this video. Do you disagree, do you agree, or what? Whatever it is, leave a comment below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.